What does a real estate investor do? Guys, by the end of this video, you're gonna understand kind of the lifestyle, the day of what it looks like for an investor, what they do, but more importantly, if this is something that really is a fit for you. Now, most of you might be thinking investor's lifestyle is just we sit on the beach, we just open up a computer, dollar bills are just floating in. But by the end of this video, you're gonna realize what does a day look like and how, more importantly, how you can achieve it and become an investor starting today. One of the greatest teachings I ever received about learning about the investor was this Cashflow Quadrant. This was a quadrant given by one of the greats out there. His name is Robert Kiyosaki. He actually has a book on this, and I'm gonna share a little bit and break down with you exactly what this quadrant is and what it taught me about the investor lifestyle and what a day should look like as an investor. All right, let's go to this drawing board because I'm gonna break down what this quadrant taught me about investing and give you a better perspective of what you can expect in each one of these quadrants. Now, this first quadrant, this is the employment, right? Most people sit in this quadrant and a lot of people reside and stay in that quadrant. Now, the employment really is, if you want to break it down, let's put it in a different color so you can start to see this. This is where you're always trading time, and I'm just going to make a quick clock, but I know there's better clocks out there. You're always trading time for money, meaning as long as you go to work, as long as you wake up and you punch in, you can go out there and you can make money. Now, the second quadrant is pretty close to it, and that is self-employment. And I think so many times as entrepreneurs, we think that that's being an investor. We think that we're getting there. And yes, you are getting closer and you are improving your lifestyle already from jumping from employment to the self-employment. But at the end of the day, self-employment means you're also doing it by yourself. You don't have a team in place. And really, it's just you. You're wearing all the hats. And in a wholesaling business, it'd be you doing acquisitions, marketing, dispositions, and everything under the sky, right? So you're still trading this time, that's my clock, and you're trading it for money. Now, it may be that you're just making more money as a self-employed. This is where, at wholesalers, I talk to them all the time. I have them come out to my 3-day event called Scale, where they're in this square and they're trapped because it's them wearing all the hats, and it's as long as they go to work, they're making money. Really what they did is they just traded their first job, their employment job, for just a higher paying job. And even though they say, oh, I'm my own boss, really many of them, they lose more time with their family. Now they're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and yes, they're making more money, but they're losing a lot of that time. So let's talk about the third quadrant. The third quadrant is the business owner, okay? B-O, business owner. And that is, you now not just are like, you have this wholesaling business in place, like you're self-employed, you're wearing all the hats down here. Now when you cross over to this quadrant, now what you're doing is you're putting a team in place. These are a bunch of heads, right? And your team is now making you money. Now, are we all the way there? Are we investors yet? No. And I think that's where most people get confused, is it's still someone's time making money. But if you lose these team members and they no longer want to work for you, guess what else stops? It's this money. Hey guys, before we move on to this last quadrant we're all trying to get to, at this point I'd like to hit that subscribe button, also hit that bell so it alerts you when I put out fresh new content, and then also share it with those that are looking to become investors themselves. So what do you do to overcome that? This is where we get into this question. What does an investor do? What is the day in life of a real estate investor? The secret behind that is they've got to jump down into this quadrant, and that is the investor quadrant. The investor quadrant, this is where it gets really fun. All these dollars that you're making, you're now using those dollars to acquire assets. Maybe you're buying rentals, right? And there was a game called Monopoly. You'd buy like 4 red houses or 4 green houses, and then you could trade it up to like an apartment. And you would always buy these assets. And the people that win in Monopoly were the ones that owned the most assets. Because every time you'd go around the board and you landed on one of those properties that it wasn't yours, you'd end up having to pay a lot of money to the individual that owned them. Now, the beautiful thing is, guys, is right here, you're trading for your team's time for money, but down here, your money is making you more money. And so I always like the joke of your money's out there having babies, right? And that's the fun stage. This is where you're buying assets like rentals. This is maybe where you're buying other businesses. This is where you start to see money come in regardless. And now this can do it to some point where you're gone on vacation and money's still coming in. But this is the legacy wealth that we're talking about. This is what people are trying to achieve. What does this look like? I'm gonna share with you kind of, and I'm not saying I am the guy, like there's so many more people making a lot more money in this investor stage, but I wanna share with you what the lifestyle I chose for me, and it may not be the exact lifestyle, but what investing has allowed me to afford for my life. For me, guys, this is where kind of like just sharing my own personal story and just taking it home to what I was wanting in life. And this may align with some of you, and it may not, and that's okay. Because the investor lifestyle, it's different for everyone. But for me, my definition of success had nothing to do with money. It wasn't having $1 million in the bank, $2 million in the bank, $10 million in the bank. I don't care how much money's in the bank. My definition of success was that my wife and my kids, that they see me more than my team members see me. That ultimately, that I get to be with my family more than I'm with my team or with my business partners. That was to me success. And as I got to this investor stage, I was able to see how quickly I was able to replace income that I was working for, trading time for money, or my time managing others to go out and make me money, and how by just simply owning rentals. I bought my first rental back in 2016. In fact, my first 2 rentals. Since then, have continued to buy them. Now, I don't do it the exact same strategy or method that everyone does. That's why I say everyone's definition is gonna be different. Because I coach wholesaling, because I have a 7-figure wholesaling business, because we've now franchised wholesaling nationwide, I have businesses that bring in income. So I'm not trying to make all of my money from rentals. So me and my business partner, as we grow our assets and we grow the investor side, we pay cash for these homes. And some people, if I went to like an investor meetup, or if I was sitting in front of Robert Kiyosaki would probably call me an idiot. He'd be like, what are you doing? You gotta leverage money. You've gotta get mortgages. You gotta leverage so you can buy more. Instead of owning 15 rentals free and clear, you could own 150 homes right now that are all leveraged. But guys, let me tell you something secret. Back in 2008 and 2009 when the market crashed, I went to Real Estate Investor Association meetings, and the individuals that would step up front and share their story, they'd be like, hey, I used to have 40 rentals, and then 09 hit, and I lost them all. So I'm here rebuilding up and just getting those rentals back. And I heard this over and over in many states as I attended these different real estate investor associations. And every time I went up to them, I said, why is it? Why did you lose your homes? And it's because of this word leverage. At the end of the day, they were over leveraged and they lost everything. I've never heard this story though, where an investor stands up at the front of the room and says, hey guys, I owned 15 homes and they're all free and clear. And when 09 hit, I lost everything. And here I am starting all over again. I've never heard that story. So although it sounds very safe what I'm doing, it's allowing me to prepare for the future one home at a time, completely debt-free, so that at any given point when we want to be done with these businesses, that we can sell off these businesses and we still have assets or money sitting out there making us more money. So what is it for you? This is where you got to define yourself. The action item I would want to give you guys, and the action items I gave myself from my own mentors, was, what do you want out of life? What is your definition of success? What is it that you want to accomplish? What do you want your lifestyle to be like? Hopefully you tie it not to money in the bank. Who cares how much money's in the bank? But if I know that $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month is coming in from my rentals, that's amazing. And each one of you can do that by already, whether you have no money, learn how to wholesale. It's a cash cow. It's incredible. That's how I got into it. I didn't have a dollar to my name when I got into this. But as I learned how to wholesale, it started printing the cash for me where I could use that cash to buy performing assets. So my money started making money for me. Hey guys, down below, I've left a link in the description box to my 30-day Close Your First Wholesale Deal Challenge, where I'm gonna walk you through, and I do these every 30 days, where I walk you through and guide you through on how to do your first wholesale deal so you can start making that money to turn it into those investments.